Howdy, folks. We're back with another episode of the D&D Abeyance campaign, which will be run by, as usual, by Nick. So I'm heading off to him now.
Yes, I take up the mantle.
Yes.
I receive the controls, and will try to take us not into the off the edge of this and go to the abyss. Nicole's been playing Tears of the Kingdom, and she keeps on doing that. Fun vehicle. Go off the side of the ledge. Oops. So I love you, honey. You're great. So. Last time that we played, you guys got heavily into trying to track down like the source of the goings-on that has kind of been at the root of the campaign of what's been causing all of these souls that have been showing up in Limbo and then vanishing.
Yep.
The souls not reaped. And so working on a lead, you guys started looking into the physical world criminal organization called the Scuttlers, a group of smugglers led by a British guy named Secondhand Reg. The party split. You were kind of forced to take along some monitors, a couple of other Reapers, Aude and Giorgio.
Yep.
One of whom went with each of your groups.
Yep.
So Giorgio went with Dan and Tan to kind of check out the Scuttlers' warehouses, while the other three of you were accompanied by Aude and were going to try and go to a scheduled or regular meeting place that the Scuttlers had with their supplier. Dan and Tan found a number of things, schedule of meetings, a list of just different things that they have been taking, and also found a lot of drugs that were in the warehouse, like a lot of drugs, medical drugs, I should say. On the other hand, with Jerome and Reiko and Gideon observing, you found that the scheduled meeting that apparently the Scholars did show up for was not going to take place. As whoever they were meeting with decided just not to show up. A gentleman on the phone, who was probably Reg, got really angry, but you didn't really hear anything but his half of the conversation. And then they just left and seemingly started heading back towards the warehouses. You guys started tailing them, and then at the end of the session, made a stop, and Gideon ended up having an unexpected encounter with his boss. With proper death incarnate, you guys had a little chess match. And then, at the end of the session, there was an odd arrangement of pieces on the board, which I very meticulously gave you an image of for you guys to puzzle over. And in between sessions, you guys went about solving the puzzle I had given you.
Yes.
The answer you guys have come up with is a single word, Stanford.
Yes.
And as Ash pointed out from his notes, Stanford happens to be one of the names of one of the regular clients that Cecilia Teague would have her pieces auctioned off to.
All right. Do you want me to unpack how the thing was solved for the stream, or
sure,
do you want me to just...
we can do that.
Sure. Yes. Go ahead and explain what your method was.
Yes.
So we went through several different phases in our solving procedure. The main clues of importance was one, just noting the fact that each piece has a letter at the start of its name. The knight was specifically N as opposed to K. The second thing of note was basically referring to the perspective. Normally, in this case here, having it so that one starts on the black side and 8 starts on the white side. And the last detail was just a note about how when black pieces move away and white pieces move towards, or basically advance forward or move backwards through the numbers. And through a combination of those sort of clues there, we basically were able to look at the letters as look at the letters as written, and do the following thing. We had a queen in the first row that was advanced by a black queen in the first column that advanced forward in 2 spaces. So Q plus 2 is S. And then, and as an example of the inverse, there's a bishop in column 3 that's white and moves forward 1 space. So it's B minus 1 or A.
Right.
And using that as the cipher, the
Yep.
word Stanford came about from the letters that were listed.
Right.
So that is the answer you guys have come up with.
Yep.
So now it falls to you guys to determine what to do with the information that
Yes.
you have learned between the last session and a half. I guess I should
Right.
put it.
Yes.
So you have this name. You have the understanding that someone has called off a meeting with this smuggling group that you know to have been involved, at least with one of the persons who have disappeared, and you know that there's a lot of drugs involved.
Yes.
But not the fun kind.
Well, it depends on who you ask, but
I think not having a heart attack is a fun time. So
it's best.
All right. Well, when we left off, I mean, I do think sort of. Try to think how I want to say what I was going to say, and I forgot what I was going to say. Crap.
strictly speaking, we are still at the side of the road.
We are.
while-
We're still at the rest area. Well, at least Reiko, Od, Jerome, and I are. And
Right.
I think the other half of the group is moving away from the place they were because the Regin's crew were headed back.
Right.
And
sounds
we were going to go
correct.
meet up with them, possibly. But yeah, so yeah, Gideon is. When we left off, I think I was sort of sitting there staring at the chessboard while everybody was sort of going, so what's. And I think I was. I don't remember if I actually explained what happened. Sort of, I'm thinking about in character, sort of the whole like. We've solved the puzzle like we have, but in character, we really haven't done anything yet.
Right.
Yeah.
A little bit of a game universe versus player universe.
Yeah, right.
Disconnect there. I understand
Yeah.
you.
So I just want to. It's something I think we need to resolve quickly at least.
Yes. So I will say that we did also establish last time that the meeting between the two of you was purely something that you could see.
Yeah, no, that was yes. It was just
It was a private meeting.
A private. Yeah, I like that's a good way to put it.
But the pieces that were left on the board aren't there for anyone
Right.
to see.
So yes, if anyone wants to approach Gideon while he's sitting there staring at the chessboard, going, huh.
Where'd you get the board?
Well, the board was there. It's like well, I've had an unexpected a meeting that was unexpected that probably shouldn't have been. The boss showed up.
How does he show
Right.
up to you? He had a cheap suit when he showed up to me.
Huh. I mean, he's death. He shows up the way he shows up. I mean, it does, I guess, vary for most people, but
Jerome kind of flutters down. I hope he was happier with you than he was with me.
Gideon sort of effectively blinks a few times. Huh. I'm not sure exactly what his. I'm very bad at reading his moods.
How are you at reading the moves, though?
Well, he is one of the very few who actually routinely bests me at chess.
So not well. Got it.
He's left me with something of a puzzle.
Ooh. Have you
Well,
solved it?
if you may observe, he indicated that the state of the board was something of a clue of some sort, because it is very much not a actual legal position.
And he beat you with that?
Well, I will note that even though he doesn't have a king currently, I am also guaranteed to be checkmated if we were actually if he did have one. I'm somehow not entirely certain how he ended up without a king. It's It's death. Yeah.
Well,
The whole point-
obviously is because no, sorry.
The whole point of this was not to actually have an actual game of chess, but I suspect, to arrange the pieces into this position so that he could leave me a clue to figure out, or us to figure out, I suppose.
Oh, sure.
But yes, I will then relay sort of the intimations that he made as I sort of sit there staring at the board. I suspect I may be a little bit too literal-minded for this puzzle at the moment.
Ode is also present.
Oh, yeah.
Having come with you, and he says, "I get the impression that whatever Death may have wanted of you, it I think as well the timing of her appearance has meaning in and of itself. When you received that message when we were on course, we had to stop to come here. So maybe it is just as important, maybe it is just as important to stop doing what we were doing as to take on whatever message she was giving us.
Entirely possible.
Jerome's just kind of looking at the board. We should probably take a picture of this, and if we can't figure it out ourselves, discuss it with the others.
Yes. Reiko, you send a message with the photo of the board with the phone thingy. You can do that, right?
Click. Type. Done.
Excellent. I remembered something about those phone things. Excellent.
How did we ever get by without these things? We just had to remember everything.
I generally wrote things down on paper or parchment.
Oh yes, I guess you could, but yeah, I mean, if you're not a very good artist, then how would you go about like making the board drawn out and everything?
Well, the board's not very hard. It's a grid, and you use letters to denote the pieces.
Try it.
It's not the flat surface.
Letters to denote the pieces.
It's a three-dimensional object, and it depends on the angle that you look at it from.
You got to take perspective into account, man. Come on.
Jerome's like, you have no idea how hard it was.
How can you capture all of the little details in each of the pieces when not on such a tiny notepad?
The pieces have representations of are represented by letters.
Oh, so it is not like taking a picture then, Gideon.
I'm sorry. Did you say something, Ode? I do apologize. My brain was... I was in my own head. I do apologize.
Never mind.
My question is, what sort of dumb shit is Gideon and not Gideon, Dantalion and Tanninar's up to?
You know, it is not a bad time to cut over to them with that little sort of. Wait, the pieces are represented by letters.
It's just I could just picture, like, based on Tan's prior antics, whatever they're in this world, they're probably getting some sort of food somewhere.
Well, you guys would have received the message last time that the meeting that your friends were going to try and spy on was called off, and the people who had shown up for it were seemingly heading back to their base of operations. What you guys do with that information is up to you. I do, however, think that Skitch is actually correct, and I think that getting food was was one of the items on your agenda.
Yeah.
It always is.
I mean, I'm pretty sure we're supposed to get kebabs. Yeah.
I was going to say, it's 3 a.m. You're in England, it's going to be kebab.
So the reason why I bring this up is that if the text shows up with the picture of the board while they're having kebabs, Tad's first instinct is just to take a picture of the kebabs they're having and send that back to
I mean, go for it.
Yeah.
Anyways, but I just wanted to make that joke out there. But yeah, it's us. Who else is with us? I forgot if there's anyone else with us.
It was
Giorgio.
Giorgio, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're huddled up, like, either around somewhere or in a booth or something.
Right.
Yeah,
like,
'cause we had broken into the office and
yes.
well, got a picture of the distribution map, but not much else useful.
Yeah,
Correct.
Giorgio, who is like just fully a skeleton within like a robe, who has a kebab as well, and it just every time you look at him, he's just holding the kebab, and there's a little bit less of it than there was last time.
Tannenars will
When they
smile
shuffle
at
over,
that.
it's just a pile of like half-chewed kebab.
Or like he's like pinched it off and hidden it behind him.
feeding it to the local squab or whatever it is, you know.
It's like it's like Data. He just wants to fit in.
Well, we got some leads so far here.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
it feels like we're kind of spinning our wheels a little bit, as some mortals like to say.
yeah, it's just. I mean, this would be really important information if we were in law enforcement or private detectives.
Yes, but we're not scumbags, so you know.
Yeah.
I'm afraid that you are right. This is something that you could definitely use to make great changes in the world of the living. But that is exactly why we were asked to come with you, to make sure that kind of thing would not happen.
Exactly. Like, this is
Right.
really important information that we can't do anything with.
And also,
It doesn't.
it's not.
It doesn't
yeah.
forward our goals at all.
Yeah, it's not as immediately relevant to the current, investigation as we would like. So,
Well, do not be so hasty to jump to that conclusion. It is entirely possible that the information you have will be useful. It is just a matter of how you were able to take a look. How you were able to look at it.
I mean, you're right. Thank you for that. I'm just feeling a little dejected at the moment,
I understand.
despite how wonderfully greasy and terrible this kebab is.
Those are both bad things, aren't they?
I mean, it's from a certain point of view, like you were saying. Sometimes it's exactly what you're looking for.
Oh,
Mm.
I have much to learn about food.
well,
I like the idea that kebab is just so bad for you that it's actually sinful. And that he's just eating the sin from the kebab.
but
No,
So,
if it's that bad for you and it's still tasty, then it's its own punishment, really.
mhm.
Yeah, I could picture that.
But yeah, so
You'll be paying for this sin, not years down the line, but just later tonight.
Yes.
About 6 hours in the bathroom.
hours down the line there for sure.
6
So,
hours out in the bathroom.
yeah, but assuming at some point during all of this,
The message
text
comes
from Rick.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Yeah.
Bing.
Tannenar's reply is this first send a question mark to Reiko and then a picture of the kebabs.
Are we just sending each other pictures right now?
But I know that Reiko did include like text explaining what was going on there, because I heard the typing. Heard the typing there, Cornea. So
Typey.
Yeah, all the typing.
Okay.
yeah, so it's like it's like looks like the others have something, and then presents the phone to the others at the table, bench, wherever we happen to be having kebabs.
Okay, so they've been playing chess?
I mean, that is. Oh wait, I forgot. I needed my reverb on. No, we're the human realm, so I don't have reverb on my voice at the moment here. Well, I mean, it is you know who, it's death. I mean, that's their favorite game, at least.
Yeah, that's true. And
Actually, I don't think he's very particularly fond of it.
really, huh?
No. Well, you get sick of it. You get sick of any game after you play it about 300 billion times.
Listen,
Yeah.
even though he
He should
may
play
not,
more. He should play craps more often, a lot more random.
I heard the gin rummy can also be pretty fun, but that, I guess my point is just that.
Heard about this new game called Settlers of Catan?
That's
That
just
sound-
there going, I would give you 2 wood for 1 sheep.
That sounds like something made by masochists, but
I think it is. Anyway, someone was cheating. There's no king on that board.
well, according to what Reiko has noted here, that isn't really relevant to what's going on, and then they sort of point out like
I'm
the
going to play
text-
games against Reiko then if cheating's not relevant to her.
No, according to death, that's not relevant. This is apparently the fact that it's on a chessboard seems to be incidentally relevant, or at least it's the rules of the game aren't as relevant as the orientation here. And then
So
So turn it upside down.
All right.
Well, the problem is that Tan does that, but then the phone's accelerometer invert it so it's right side up still.
When that happens.
Goddamn phone.
Like,
Stupid phone being readable.
Here's what we're gonna do. Tan just places it flat down on the surface so it doesn't do that, and just rotates it around a few times.
Hey.
All right.
The question is, who in the party solves the puzzle?
Yeah, I guess that is a question. Yeah, I mean, Skitch, if you want to go any particular way, I think that I will reward that to you for having come to the solution. But if it doesn't necessarily have to go any particular way.
Yeah, I mean,
this is a shared goal between you guys. So.
Yeah, exactly. So, Tan's like, okay.
Unless she's being cryptic again.
No,
Death,
I don't think
not Formnia. Not Reiko.
Tan does the smart thing, pulls out like a little marker, and just writes on the phone screen.
I've got a notebook. It's just that way you don't have to clean the screen every time.
Tanadars has presentation. They can clean the screen afterwards anyways. So they just start writing things like the letters of the pieces and stuff, and then it just starts.
Your screen starts buzzing because it's detecting that it's being touched, but it's confused as to what to do.
Oh my god, it's a resistive touchscreen? Holy shit! Wow. Unless wait, does Sharpie count as capacitive?
I don't know off the top of my head.
I was gonna say, like, I don't think it is.
That's not one of those things I want to test to find out.
Yeah, you know, guys, everyone just take out a Sharpie and write on the surface of your phone right now.
But I just like the idea of just like that's the way that like Ted's going about this, like treating it like a piece of paper, just writing on it here. And then like the procedure, I would assume, is like first things first, like each of the letters are sort of written out kind of as a result. And then just like moving the letters sorts of happens. There's a little bit like there's a peering around, make sure no one's looking, like muttering, and like the letters are shifting on the screen.
Oh, so they click forward and backwards.
Right. It's those like I'm at, oh, here's a great idea. Draw and then like putting your finger out and sliding it like it's now a interface you can slide the letters up and down on.
Oh wow, good job. You made it so that you can scroll through letters on your phone. What magic there.
This is peak technology here.
By the way, at some point back at the rest area, Gideon literally has a notion, gets up and walks to the other side of the board and sits down.
Okay.
Well, Death said looking at it from his point of view, it's like, well, I guess literally.
All right. The question is, and the last question I have. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I bet it involved. I pull out my phone and bring up the photo of the distribution map. I bet it has something to do with this. Let's see. Let's see how they line up.
That would have been an interesting idea.
All right, so next they convert the chess positions into global coordinates,
Yes.
and then use that and then translate that down to the scale of the main island of the UK, not the entirety, but just the mainland, right?
Yeah.
And then
no Isle of Man shenanigans.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're not dealing with we're not tormenting
like
the Irish
Northern
here.
Ireland or anything. Yeah. Just the central, just the main island. Yeah.
And that's
and Scotland, which is part of the main island.
And then once Tan has Dan on that entirely pointless trajectory, they go back to messing with letters on their own phone. My mental headspace has like Gideon and Tan both coming to the conclusion at the same time.
That's what I was thinking. Exactly the same thing.
Yeah,
I'm just going to go herring off in a much more complicated direction. That's exactly what I did during this session.
Right? Yeah. No, I figured.
All right, we have to go to Zimbabwe, everyone.
And the way I would frame it, Peter, is that as Tan texts the word to Reiko, Gideon just says
the name Stanford.
out loud at the
Yes.
same time.
That's exactly what I
Well,
was
that doesn't
thinking.
make any sense because we include the Isle of Man, but it's named that 'cause once upon a time fit everyone on the Isle of Man. But there are too many people in the world now, so we have to go to Zanzibar, like written in the sand in Zanzibar. So let's look at Zanzibar. Pulls up the map of Zanzibar.
But what if the Isle of Man is supposed to be the Isle of Stan? What? Stanford,
Stand
right?
even. Yes. Because
All right,
okay,
so-
it's flat. Okay.
The Q is on the third space, so it's moved forward in this case. Our S. Pawn becomes T. Bishop becomes A.
If Reiko has other things to add in, feel free.
Yeah, feel free. Chip in.
I was just going to say that around the point that she gets the text and hears, Gideon fire off with Stanford, or however he's
Huh.
Stanford.
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 Does Stanford mean anything to anybody?
And of course-
as soon as like she gets both of this simulcast of information, she's going to text back, "Hey, that's what Gideon just said," and to Gideon she'll say, "Hey, that's what Tan just said."
Well, then I think we're probably correct. Then I think it's probably almost certainly correct.
Ted's just like, oh, geez, what a
That
weird
was one of the guys on the
coincidence.
computer at the gallery.
And Jerome basically says the same thing. Like, yeah, that's one of the people from the gallery thing.
That's a weird coincidence.
Well,
So you're saying is it doesn't have anything to do with Zanzibar? Because I literally just ordered the book from Amazon.
Where is it going to get
With what
delivered
money?
to?
and where are you delivering it to? That's a good question.
It's delivered to the dead drop.
I only think of like, what money? What do you mean, what money? Money's fake, anyways.
What? So you're over with Reiko, Gideon, and Jerome. Ode says, "So, wait. So, I mean, there's a lot of different things that Stanford could mean, but you already have a name that means that."
Yes, apparently there was. So the SNR we've been looking into, Cecilia Teague, she's an artist, and during our investigations at one of the galleries she posted, there was a file that had a bunch of names of people who were traded in her art, and Stanford was one of them.
I don't mean to cut you off right there, but like, I had a moment, and when you described her profession, I thought you said artifice, and I'm like, wait, what?
No, artist.
The monk artificer hybrid you've been waiting for.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, whoa, she paints a hell of a picture.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could.
Yes,
I guess you could argue someone like Leonardo da Vinci would be an artist artificer. So
Yeah.
But at any rate, so that's the only connection I can think of. Why? I mean, I suppose given that Tannars came up with the same solution to the puzzle, I'm inclined to believe that's a correct solution.
All right. In that case, do you know where to find him?
No, but we can
You're
find
right.
out.
Yeah, Jerome kind of like pipes up like we do have a inn at the art gallery. We could just ask about Stanford.
Well, we should probably all link up and discuss this together.
I'm going to wait here for my book to be delivered. Oh, wait, it's on my phone. Do you know about this ebook thing?
Well played. Someone should, Reiko, could you message them and see if we can work out where to meet up and how to meet up?
Reiko will coordinate.
All right. Excellent.
Tan will ask if they want kebabs of their own.
Jerome is obviously like, yeah, hell yes.
Jerome will just swallow the entire thing in one go. It'll look a little awkward when doing so.
Yeah, it looks
That's
really,
gonna be a pellet
really
later.
disgusting.
I suppose I do not wish a kebab. No, maybe a coffee, but that's about it.
A kabafi. Got it.
A what now?
Never
Where
mind.
you just like squeeze a kebab into a coffee cup and give it to
No.
That's disgusting.
Just no.
Enjoy this meat juice.
Incorrect.
That's not even a thanks, I hate it. That's just a, oh no. Kind of just like.
All right then. Yeah, I think that that we can just assume that you guys do meet up. Do you want to just meet up? Well, I mean, if you're serious about like meeting at a place to get food, then you can remain in the physical world.
Well, wherever we want to meet up, we do need to figure out how to find Stanford. But that's
Yes.
I don't know where.
All right.
Well, there's a McDonald's over there.
Yeah. Let's see here.
I interject.
Oh, I bet they have ice cream. Let's go get some ice cream at McDonald's.
Let's see here.
I'm funny, Eric.
All right, let's see here. We gotta get some of the local delicacies, including the spicy nacho cheese wedges, the banana milkshake. There we go.
Actually, that sounds pretty good.
They also have the what's called the chicken legend, which is just it's a chicken sandwich there. I just the McMore.
The McMore.
That's an Irish one though, in particular. And so like those are some fun examples of all out there. Regional McDonald's stuff is always fun to talk about there.
The spicy mayo meal.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we will link up somewhere.
All right. So you have met up with each other.
Mm-hmm.
You've got this one-word solution to a puzzle.
Yep.
That has come to you from death themselves, and
Which
you
means
also have
I'm
the
inclined not to
information.
ignore it. Yes.
And of course, you also have the information that you got from your proper like tailing people and snooping
Yes.
around and stuff that you can share.
All right.
Well, we should track down this Stanford individual, I suppose.
Yeah.
I have a sneaking suspicion that he will end up having some ties to Scuttlers, but that is just a supposition, not based on any actual evidence.
Are we still in the world of living, like in an actual location?
You guys didn't say that you
Probably I don't see a reason to leave yet.
Why the hell would we leave? That would be aborting the mission.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just pointing out, like, Jerome's kind of an owl, so Jerome cannot be like inside any location. He's probably just like using his beak to like send messages on the cell phone.
Parking lots exist.
Yes.
Yeah, we could hang on the parking lot. Also, we could, I don't know, do something to imply that you're someone's pet. That's another
There's
option.
a drive-through.
Yeah. Yeah, like
If I
literally,
see
just like
owl.
We can get McDonald's in the drive-through.
Right,
Just
okay.
The owl wants fries.
So you guys
By
are
seeing eye owl, he's a
seeing eye owl.
Yeah,
See, I-
he's got to
Pretty
come with
good.
me.
all right.
Let's
So
go.
right. So Jerome is your support animal.
Yeah.
And you guys are hanging around. Yeah. So you guys are hanging around in the physical world, but not inside, presumably.
I would imagine not. Say we're at a park where there's some like benches and such, like those sorts of things exist in places.
Yes.
For now.
Yes.
All right, so we're finally convened together.
Yes.
Yes.
We're sitting in a park somewhere near a parking lot or something. I don't know.
So we have some information to share amongst ourselves, and
Indeed.
proceed to share the pictures and stuff from their break in there.
Delivery schedule of some sort. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, plus this distribution
Yeah.
map.
Well, it is going in the direct. Most of that is in the direction which, unfortunately, does not sort of play into our purview at the moment.
No, not quite.
But it may be of use later, or
Certainly.
maybe of use now, and I'm just not seeing it, which is entirely possible.
Well, we could. Yeah, Jerome was just like, well, we could cross-reference these areas for these supply drops and maybe see how they apply to other SNR cases.
Possibly. Well, I don't know how many of them are in the UK. At any rate, Stanford.
Yes.
I'm loath to ignore a clue from Death. For what I like to call obvious reasons, I would say.
Reiko takes a long McDonald's French fry and just kind of like taps it to her lips as though it were a pen, and then puts it behind her ear while puzzling this over.
Very good. Very good.
She like
She has to do that with a kebab, you know.
she like takes the straw out of her drink and pretends it's like a pipe.
So, run by me the name Stanford. So, what? Are those one of the people involved with the auction house, or?
Yeah, he was in the database of regular buyers of Teague's stuff.
All right. So.
Sounds like someone to look into.
Yeah. We can look in.
Do you have his full name?
No.
Just
there
Stanford.
can't be that many people named Stanford, so you know.
Yeah. What, like 5?
It's just, I'm just kidding. It's a banana, Michael. How much could it cost? $8. But like, I was like, well, I'm pretty sure there can't be that many art collectors named Stanford. And
True.
You would assume,
Especially not in England.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. You gotta be Yeah, you gotta be wary of people who call themselves Stanford. Sometimes their name's actually Stanley.
I've heard many a parable about them.
We just need to find his friend named Bill. They'll sort it all out.
Yeah.
No.
So what Tan will sort of propose would be like, well, is it possible maybe to check news entries about? See if there's any information about, or
there's that searchy thingy on the phones, right?
Reiko?
What do you want me to look up?
Stanford Art Collector, United Kingdom.
Yeah. See if there's any,
For a start. See how many
Yeah.
see how many entries how many results you get for that.
Yeah.
Jerome kind of pipes in. Use these like search commands from actual to get rid of some of the actual Stanford the school and Stanford art collection.
Boolean modifiers.
It's just going to hear that suggestion is just going to say those are out of date. Those don't work anymore.
All right.
Use these instead.
Tell you what, Frenea, give me a investigation roll, and yeah. Well,
do we count as helping?
We can, yes, absolutely. You guys are collaborating on this, so this can be with the help action.
Yes.
Also,
help action is definitely
also
given.
Guidance.
Ooh.
Roll D4 and add that to
I rolled amazingly anyway, so.
Roll.
Just roll a D4 and add to it anyways.
I'm also going to cast Chaos Bolt. That'll help, right?
There we go. Yeah.
So 21.
So you get the results of Reiko's search, and then the phone in her hands explodes.
Oh gosh, I didn't.
Evidently, this person's quite prominent.
Oh gosh, that was a Samsung phone.
Well then, all right.
It's an older name, sir, but it checks out.
It's a Galaxy Nope. Got it. All right.
So that's why Limbo has it. It's already dead.
Nice.
That's why everyone's got Zunes.
I'm gonna say Zune. God damn it! Up again.
All right. So I will say that yes, that's a good roll, and you're going to get something out of this. I will say, however, that limiting a search involving the word Stanford by using the words United Kingdom isn't all that super helpful, because there is a Stanford in the United Kingdom.
I'm aware.
I mean,
but
I figure if we put in Stanford, and then art purchase or something like that,
right.
I imagine we can narrow that.
So after some digging into this, the information that you get, unfortunately, is not that helpful. The only stuff that you can get is that, honestly, you cannot actually find a first name associated with this. Apparently, every single time that this person, Stanford, has had a public appearance of any kind, they have gone by a mononym. There are, however, some information that points to, yes, this person has, purchased stuff from Cecilia Teague. In terms of what you can find, that's kind of like it as far as art purchases, is that there's an occasional, buzz thing, bit of buzz about like, oh, here's a person who bought this painting. And there is a little blurb about Stanford that says that this person is associated with a number of these different investments, but it's all like really general information. It's like, oh, real estate tycoon, or one bit it says like, Mr. Stanford, who had previously invested in X X locations, like community, that kind of thing. There's not like you find like a public facing web page about a company that he's associated with, or
Right.
anything like that. So the honestly, probably the biggest bit of information that you get is that there is seemingly deliberately not a lot of information that is out there about him. You are at least able to get like a confirmation of freaking gender, because of the stuff like, oh, Mr. Stanford, and that kind of thing is used to refer to him. But like any photos that happen to be of him seem to be very like blurry and out of focus. And you probably get the impression that Stanford is maybe not actually his real name, but just kind of like an alias that's for kind of public appearances like this.
Right. Like, who actually names their kid Mr. Stanford?
Yeah, who names their kid Mister? That's weird.
Exactly.
Well, I know what
Play a
I'm.
lot of video games, though.
Hmm.
Gotta get someone with that one, damn it.
Jerome just kind of like turns his head around getting this information, doing owl-like things while he's thinking. He's like, well, it seems like the only surefire connection we have to this person would be the art gallery, who might have some information on at least a location of where the paintings get shipped to when they're purchased.
I should also note that I guess a valuable thing to not leave out is that the stuff that you are able to find does appear to be like regional. It's any mentions of like, oh, Mr. Stanford and all this stuff is like, it's stuff that like he's been doing like within the British Isles,
right?
So in terms of like if there is a connection to like stuff that happened in Miami, for instance, there's no like indication that
Right.
he has had operations like in the United States.
Those two
So, local boy.
those two cases are diverging even further.
Possibly, or it's possible that it's just local reporting, so they don't have any information about what he. Also, again, he does keep himself very private, so it just maybe they don't have the information on his foreign dealings.
Right. And like you were specifically trying to find stuff associated with like British art dealings.
Yep.
Hell, for that matter, if the guy operates under a pseudonym, then maybe he uses a different pseudonym when he goes to different places.
Would not be surprised. He's Mr. Springfield in the United States. Well, our only other lead to Stanford that I'm aware of is through the art gallery.
Through the constable, where previously you guys had kind of gotten an in by having Dantalion and Jerome basically trying to hawk the portrait of Jerome that Cecilia Teague had done,
which is still at the gallery.
Yes, it is being stored in their secure, temperature-controlled environment.
Yes. Well, I suppose we could return to the gallery and discuss things there. And see what we can learn there.
I'm gonna make a couple of rolls here.
Yeah, go for it.
So you guys are, I assume, like openly discussing this.
Oh yes. No. If Odin, Giorno want to put the kibosh on any of this, they are.
Well, let me think about that.
I have a potential argument to go around it, but
Right. Well, so two things happen here. One is that Ode says like, "All right, I do want to point out that even though there is no longer going to be apparently for the moment in looking into criminal activity in the human world." If you want to change the focus of your investigation, we will still be making sure that it is limited to matters that deal with the world of the dead. Not going to stop you or anything like that, but just wants to reiterate that. And while he's doing that, Giorgio has...
Sorry, Giorgio, not Giorno.
Giorgio has seemingly finished his kebab from earlier, and is like kind of using the what do you call it?
Skewer.
The kebab stick, the skewer. Yes,
The skewer. Yeah.
as like a toothpick.
Uh-huh.
And he says, "I mean, why don't you just say that you want to sell the painting?"
I do believe that was the.
Yeah.
That is an excellent approach that I think would likely where we would have ended up. But it's a very good suggestion. I do appreciate that. Sorry. I suspect that's where one of them would have gone to. I would not have thought of that.
Jerome is saddened to lose the remarkable visage that Cecilia painted of him. But he is very much at the point where, like...
Yes, then Dentalian, I suppose you should go in your previous disguise.
Yeah, I mean it's entirely different, so I'll have to like get a new body.
Yeah. Well, I mean it's just a different set of clothes, basically, isn't it?
No, you can see there's like more color in this mustache than the last one.
I confess that's not the sort of detail I tend to notice.
Oh, okay. Like there are more crow's feet here. I mean, come on. Clearly, I'm using an older Tom Selleck incarnation than previously.
Rico will look to Tananar like, you have a spell that changes colors of stuff, right?
Yes. And then
There you
Tan
go.
just
There, you can color his beard.
Tan will point to someone's chicken legend and make the bun blue temporarily.
Well, that sounds pretty good, actually.
And then continue to indulge in whatever they're having food wise.
Oh no, you've taken it to the time when they were having their James Cameron's Avatar tie-in merch.
Yeah.
Oh dear. That sounds terrible.
But anyways,
much like the McDonald's coffee that Gideon is currently drinking.
anyway,
that is when it was brewed.
Probably.
But
no, that would have too much character and flavor, Eric.
But Tan will just nod at the proposal given, though, just like, that's the way we can do it.
Yes. Attempt to arrange a sale. I suppose you should call the gallery.
Yeah.
Well, are they open at this time?
What time of day is it?
That's a good question.
You guys were poking around, like, I think in the late afternoon. So if you wanted to pose this, like, there probably it will still be someone there. Because, it's not like everyone goes home as soon as the gallery is closed to the public, and it would probably be open until, like 7 p.m. at least. So there's probably at least someone there.
Especially if they're having a showing.
Right, but in terms of like arranging like, oh, I want to, I've decided I want to sell, or I want to, start, exploring prospective buyers, whatever, then it's not so like they're going to be able to do that immediately. You'd have to probably come back to it.
Right. So we may have to go back to the underworld, go back to Limbo anyways, just because we can't be here indefinitely, depending on how long it'll take them to arrange the sale.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Or contact buyers.
So I just want to be clear. The cunning plan at the moment is to contact the gallery. We've been approached by a Mr. And that we want to sell it to Mr. Stanford, who, yeah. And if we could get his information. Of course, they'll still get the commission and everything, but...
Sure, that works. I didn't have a plan. I'll just put it that way.
That does seem like the best idea. Like the only other person who would probably be interested in it and that would know that, could possibly know that it's there, is Marshy.
Mm.
But I doubt. Let's find out if this gallery owner has already sold this painting that we left there. Perhaps unwisely.
All right. So you are planning on calling up the gallery?
Yeah, I'm going to call the gallery.
Okay, you're calling the constable.
I have my notebook out so I know everyone's names, which Eric forgets.
Okay. Okay. All right. The first person to answer the phone is the same secretary who you guys kind of had a very brief discussion with previously. She, I forget what alias you went under.
So do I, but I'll just say...
You can do another one, it's fine.
Yeah, we'll just say...
Let's take a look. Maybe I wrote it down.
Maybe. Or we could just listen back to the...
I had an alias in my head, and it just completely fell out my other ear.
Okay.
It says looking around is Rome.
Looks in the
Palmer.
bottom.
Yeah, we'll go with Palmer. He says looking at the can of Arnold Palmer's.
Mr. Palmer.
Yeah.
It could be worse. You could have gone with Mike Dawson as a pseudonym. That would have been...
Looking around my room, it's like, well, that's written in Russian. I can't pronounce it. Cruel boy. No, that doesn't make any sense.
All right, let's see. Be right back. Got laundry popping at me.
All right. You are, you are forwarded after a little bit to Mr. Yates's office.
That was a big guess.
Did you say Yates or did you say Gates?
Yates.
I wrote down Gates, so I need to change all that.
Sorry. Herbert Yates is the curator's name, and so he after a brief pause, answers the phone with one of those like, oh, I'm totally being casual and professional kind of voices. And he says, Mr. Palmer, it is good to hear from you again. What can I do for you?
Oh, hey, I was just at a party talking with some friends, and one of them mentioned that an acquaintance of theirs, a Mr. Stanford, is really into Cecilia Teague's stuff and might be interested in purchasing the painting. Obviously, you guys would get a commission for facilitating and taking care of everything. But I was wondering if you could give me his, if you guys would know of him, and if you could give me his information so I can give him a call and see if he actually is interested.
Give me a deception check. 17. All right. There is a brief pause on the line, and then Yates says, "That sounds quite unusual, actually. I've never heard of Mr. Stanford doing business in such a way. I suppose that we can certainly contact Mr. Stanford in order to see if he would be interested in purchasing the painting. But I'm afraid that he keeps his business and his personal information quite private, and so I am afraid, although I would love to assist you in the way that you have requested, that I cannot provide you with this information. But if you would like, we would be more than happy to reach out to him, since you have decided to sell the painting, and we can certainly arrange a meeting for you.
I mean, I guess if we have to do it that way, but I'd really like to be able to chat with him over the phone real quick. I'm here in the country right now. It'd be much easier if I could just give him a call right now. Certainly, it would certainly make me much more amenable to stick with you guys in the future.
Give me a persuasion roll.
I'm gonna do my what should I call it there?
Mess up the entire point of contact forever. 10.
Yeah, still kind of crap.
I'm quite sorry, Mr. Palmer, but that is, I'm afraid, if I were to let me explain to you, Mr. Palmer. Mr. Stanford is a valued client of ours, and if we were to simply pass on his information in the way that you have requested, that it might very well damage our relationship. I am afraid that is something that I cannot do for you.
Well, I understand, but if you could get back to me really quickly about this, because I am only in town for another day or two.
Another day or two? Well then, let me see if Mr. Stanford is available. I will do my best, but this is I have been preparing to make this call, I suppose. Yes. Would I be able to reach you at the number you are calling from?
Yeah, that should work. Just leave a message if I don't answer immediately. You know how things are. And I have utmost confidence in you. You can pull this off. Thanks a lot, Mr. Gates.
Do you just hang up on him?
No, not yet.
Okay. It's like, yes, I will get to it right away, Mr. Palmer.
Thank you.
All right. Let me do a thing here. Reach it here. Where is it? There we go. Okay. Some time goes by.
Mm-hmm.
It takes somewhere between like 15 minutes to half an hour before your phone rings. And it is the same number that you had called to. And assuming that you answer it,
yep. No, I'll answer.
You hear Mr. Yates's voice on the line. He's sounding a little bit more strained than he was previously.
Okay.
And he says, "Mr. Palmer, as luck would have it, I was able to reach Mr. Stanford."
Oh, that's great. When can I meet with this guy?
I'm very sorry to say that Mr. Stanford is not going to be available to make it to. He is I'm sorry, not available to make it to the constable in the immediate future.
That's really disappointing.
The best that we can do to arrange something, and honestly, this is really just a matter of the amount of warning that we need to give in order to arrange such an important thing to exchange the ownership of such a painting is if we were to do so this weekend. And you can kind of like hear the like grimace that he pulls as he says this to you.
This weekend. Oh, that's rough. I might be able to move a few things around, but yeah, that's rough. It would be so much easier if I could have talked to him personally. I could have arranged something otherwise, but I'll get back to you. Hopefully, do you have a specific time? Because that he would be most available. Because if I'm going to shuffle things around for this, then I need to. I need something to work around here.
Any time this coming Saturday, I'm sure Mr. Stanford would be amenable. Normally, for this kind of thing, traditionally we host them late in the morning, say 10 o'clock. But if there is a particular time of day that would meet your schedule, then I'm sure that we can come into an arrangement in this regard. As far as the gallery's schedule is concerned, we can, of course, be flexible to work anything out. I'm afraid it is simply a matter of the buyer's availability and your own at this point.
All right. This would actually be Mr. like Stanford, though. This wouldn't be like one of his functionaries or something showing up. I hate dealing with functionaries. I know you understand that. It's just they always have to call their boss, and it's such a big back and forth. It's just a big pain in the ass for everyone involved.
Okay, hang on 1 second. All right. Yates kind of pauses for a second, and he says, well, I am afraid that I cannot 100% guarantee the way that Mr. Stanford conducts his business. I cannot speak for him. I can at least tell you that the verbiage that Mr. Stanford is using involved the words I and me, as opposed to my people or anything in that regard.
Well, that is reassuring. Yeah, let me talk it over with some people, see what I can shuffle around. Maybe I can delay a couple things. I don't know. This is yeah, I'd like to get this squared sooner than later, but let me see what I can do.
All right.
I'll give you a call back.
Yes, of course, Mr. Palmer. And if you can give me an insight check. Okay.
Yeah.
All right then.
Oh yeah, everything's clearly on the up and up. No problems there. Nor is he suspicious.
Ah. I see.
All right, so you've given a proposed day to do this.
Right.
It's up to you what you want to do with that.
Well, guys, I have a meeting with what is hopefully Mr. Stanford on Saturday. If you guys want to do it then, I was hoping to get it sooner, but wasn't able to get his number. But this is what I got.
That's unfortunate, but understandable, given that he is apparently something of a recluse. It seems he'd be very loath to make. It seems he'd be loath to give out his contact information in general.
I'm a little interested in what he's so busy with that he can't go and pick up this art that he knows he's interested in. But considering we have reason to believe he may be involved with the drug ring, perhaps.
Most importantly,
so scarce.
It's a nod from the big man, as it were.
I don't know if he has anything to do with the drug ring. I think it's more to do with seeing the dead thing.
And Miss Teague, but We'll see.
I mean, we know that Yates and his people can't see the dead. They haven't been taking whatever drugs have been in there. So theoretically, I could show up to the meeting. We can have someone tag along, so preferably someone that can manifest without needing a meat suit.
Yes, I will likely tag along. Yes.
Yeah, who can then like check the computer and try to get his actual like contact information.
Our skill sets don't line up quite so cleanly on this, do they?
No, they do not.
We may need some sort of remote communication thing that I can discuss things with Reiko while I'm trying to operate the computer thing.
I don't even know if we could set you up with an earpiece. How would we make it stay?
Tape, obviously.
Well, not when
Just imagining like this big wad of duct tape like stuck to the side of.
The issue is more when I discorporate.
Oh yeah.
Okay, question.
Hmm.
Oh crap! Unfortunately, I do not have the spell. I do not have the message spell.
Hmm.
Because that is not really in Gideon's bailiwick.
I do.
Yeah, that doesn't help the situation though.
Mm.
Is message a wizard thing that's like a ritual?
It's a cantrip.
It's a cantrip, okay.
That as a sorcerer I have access to, so as a wizard you absolutely should.
I mean, I can just change out one of my cantrips for that using class features and then like just have it. So
But no, again, it's just that I can't send a message out to ask a question initially.
Mm.
Why right?
Yo.
So I have a spell that I think we could interpret as feeding information, provided that I'm allowed to target someone that is not myself.
What would that be?
Borrowed knowledge.
All right, let me take a look at this.
Yeah, I have borrowed knowledge as well, and yeah, as written, it
would take some interpretation flexing to make it work, but I think the idea is kind of well enough there. We can think of it as a cram session.
It's tough because I can understand why from a balance standpoint Nick might go either way about it.
Yeah.
Well, let me see here. Borrowed knowledge. Target self. Come on, you. Just load the page. You draw knowledge from spirits of the past. Choose one skill in which you lack proficiency, and for the spell's duration, you have proficiency in the chosen skill. Okay, so how would you want to use this exactly?
I would want to target Gideon as opposed to myself because it is otherwise just a self-target spell. So basically just be like channeling computer competence long enough for him to do such a thing.
Okay.
Or at the very least being able to just kind of like be it as like, how do I do this? And there's like a buzzing in his, ear analog that just says, you would do this.
Okay. Tell you what, given that you guys, are going to have a few days to do this, I think that we can make an exception for this particular case and say, like, this is something that you are planning to do with days of prep time ahead of time for a very specific purpose. And we can treat it as like a more ritual, long-term ritual usage of the spell. This is not something you're going to be able to do off the cuff.
Right.
Oh, absolutely not.
Not even. I mean, it's honestly sort of just a case of, it's largely a case of we have time for her to basically go over like how computers work with Gideon back at the office.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah,
the other thing is that yes,
the spell obviously, but I'm not discounting the spell. I'm just sort of saying,
yeah. For the
Yeah,
purpose that you're using it for, it's not going to be a big deal.
Right.
Like this
Yeah,
might be
it's
something
just
that
kind of
would be
there's
more
like a
intense.
reference guide just in case, rather
Right,
than like the meat and bones of the situation, as it were.
Right. It's not as if you're going to be pushing Gideon out there to perform some sort of like stage show, because you're giving a boost to his
Well,
performance.
wait. Why not? I mean,
Well, that's another adventure you guys are going to have. So,
Oh God.
Alas, poor York.
all right. So you guys are currently discussing this stuff. Let's see. So you haven't actually given an answer just yet to Yates on if you're going to do this or not.
Right.
Okay. So I am going to need to know if you are going to do this.
So this is currently our plan. This is what we're coming up with.
Yeah, basically we're concluding that like Reiko can set up Gideon with a cram session with a little bit of insurance and just kind of let him loose on the computer system so that we can do the best we can with this.
Okay. So are you guys essentially going to be assigning roles right now for what you guys want to do?
I think that's the plan. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So clearly, I need to be face for Mr. Stanford.
Yep.
And Jerome should probably be attending as well, as he was one of the initial people involved in that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming that Odin, and why can't I remember his name all of a sudden? Giorgio will probably want to be observing. Is my gut feeling.
Well, if you guys are going to be doing this a few days from now, it's not guaranteed that they're going to be available for this.
Right.
It might have to be someone else who comes with you.
That's fair. But yes, we're probably going to have observers. Is my point.
Right. If there's going to be a monitor for this, then there will probably be one, considering that you're still essentially following the same thread, just a different branch of it.
Yes.
Right. Okay, so we have a plan.
We do have a plan. I suppose we should probably head back to Limbo then.
Yeah. Let's stick around for a couple hours just so I can make a show.
Oh, yes. Obviously,
make a show before I call him.
Yes. That would track with your conversation, half the conversation I heard, and the personality of the character you are playing.
Yeah. Anyone want to catch a movie in the meantime?
Why would we have to chase after it?
It's an idiot.
Because Mario jumps a lot and he's very bouncy.
Giorgio says, "Is there another Minions movie?"
I don't know. Let's see what's playing. Let's go to the movie theater and see what's playing.
Oh boy! And they all watch Mario.
Perhaps there's a detective movie of some sort that might be interesting. I think the last film I watched was The Maltese Falcon, I believe it was called.
Nice.
That was a good one. Last one I saw was Zardoz.
God.
Cinematic masterpiece. It was great.
Jerome looks at Gideon. Are you sure it wasn't the Seventh Seal?
I've heard of that one.
I remember that one. That's the one with the strawberries, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like the bit where he goes and meets the kid who befriended Arnold Schwarzenegger later.
Yeah.
Who's Arnold Schwarzenegger?
He's the Terminator.
Oh, right.
See, he was the Terminator, and he had to fight the Predator while the alien was stalking them through L.A.
Yeah, and it was and it was the last time they had action.
Yeah.
Right.
At the last Jingle Hero, I think is his most prominent.
And his brother Danny DeVito showed up.
That's right.
I see.
He started blasting.
All right. Anyway,
and all of these things made him governor.
Why would anyone elect an actor to be any kind of role like that? That's ridiculous.
I don't know. Maybe you should ask the state of California. I say, looking around myself.
My out of character. If you saw Zardoz, Ronald Reagan would have been a politician already at the time.
He would have already been governor, Eric. Actually,
yeah. So
he was governor of California before Schwarzenegger was.
Yeah, yes. But do you have any idea how many drugs?
That's a fair point, actually.
Yeah.
Listen, my memory is very faint. There are certain details of who I was and what I did that have escaped me, but there is one thing I can't forget, and that is Sean Connery's hairy chest and red leather straps.
Also, the gun is good, the penis is bad.
I just imagine
evil.
Sorry, you're correct.
I'm imagining this nightmare scenario where Dantalian's death involved massive consumption of drugs to forget the election of Ronald Reagan.
He should have just got like dementia or been senile, do what Reagan did, anyways.
I kind of like the ODing to forget Reagan thing a little too much.
Anyways.
All right. So after some time of discussing movies and how well we remember them all, you guys...
Gideon remembers the Maltese Falcon very well. But that's like the only movie he's watched anytime recently, so...
So you guys give a call back to the constable.
Yeah.
To Yates. All right.
Hey, Herbert. Turns out it's great. Turns out I can definitely make Saturday morning. You said 10 o'clock, right? That's great because my flight leaves at like 2 in the afternoon, so I can definitely make that.
Yes, wonderful, Mr. Palmer. Yes, excellent. Just so we will make sure then that we will get right on into the proceedings when you arrive. A little bit less, perhaps, of the usual foreplay, as it were. But we'll get straight down to business. You and Mr. Stanford and the others. Yes, excellent.
Great, awesome. I will see you then, and yeah, I'll. Just expect me and my buddy, and we'll be there.
Yes, of course. Your companion. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I believe the technically speaking, Eric was technically representing Jerome's character, whatever it was.
Yes.
But
hopefully, Mr. Yates hasn't assumed that Dan is trying to sell the painting by himself without involving the other person involved in the sale. Just crimes all the way down.
I mean, yeah, it's the art world.
So art gallery, yeah. You say?
Listen, this money isn't going to launder itself.
No, that's what you need NFTs for.
Oh, right.
Look, do you want to buy this stolen painting from the person who's clearly using a false identity to launder your money, or not?
Can you use prestidigitation to launder the money though?
Actually,
I mean, for a certain definition of launder, sure.
You can bathe it. Yeah, sure.
You can make the money clean.
That's that.
Like you could probably remove actual literal blood from it. So sure.
Yeah.
Isn't that why they call it laundering? Like the idea is the mob was buying laundromats.
Yes.
That's why I was. Yeah.
One of my favorite bits from Archer is actually like they come across like a whole bunch of money, and Cyril says to Mallory, "Well, I guess I'll look into laundromats then." And Mallory Archer gets really upset. It's like, "No, we don't actually clean it. It's just that laundromats are a mostly cash system, so that's exactly where the term comes from." Okay, do it, Cyril.
Archer.
All right, so I guess we at this point we basically head back to the limbo, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a lot you can do in the physical world because I mean, like you guys are kind of on a time crunch in that regard. So you guys do get back. Now, I don't have anything particularly planned for when you are back in Limbo, but if you guys want to handle some stuff, if you guys want to, like, for example, if you are prepping Gideon to be able to use computer through magical means or otherwise, we can assume that you guys are working on that.
That is
If
definitely
anything
happening
else-
because Gideon's going to have to operate computers, and Gideon's not good at that.
But if there's anything else that you guys want to do, then we can do that.
Ominous thunder is outside, so that tells me that I can't make any suggestions right now.
Oh, okay.
Reiko is going to go to the Fulcrum to commission a work of a series of computer-related flashcards.
Honestly, that's a big freaking help.
Well, you gotta keep in mind. Okay, these are artisanal flashcards. Okay, so
Great,
you got
cool.
you got.
Can you have them written on papyrus? Gideon would appreciate that.
How ornate of calligraphy do you want? Also,
as ornate as possible. Gothic, Gothic preferably.
These are going to be the most ancient computer guides for a modern hardware in existence.
Just so long as the first letter of every is like illuminated manuscript style, typically with like a knight fighting a snail or a guy being pulled around by a duck or something.
These are actually
Fighting
branded.
the snail is how to check your mail.
These are actually not written. They're branded onto thin sheets of wood carved off of an original Apple computer, like an Apple I.
Nice.
What? So you've got like very, very fancy descriptions of very technical stuff. So it's like a canticle for Leibovitz up in here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now,
It's a
admittedly,
that's a depressing fucking story, by the way.
I admit Gideon would probably prefer it was written in like Sanskrit, but that's probably outside the realm of like actual translation. So, some appropriately ancient and dead language.
Funniest thing I saw a while back was someone had posted a clay tablet because they were learning Sanskrit, and the translation of the tablet was, "We've been trying to reach you about your wagon's warranty."
Mm-hmm.
Some of those old, like really old bits of things that they've used for translating old languages. Some of them are just like literally just like basically negative Yelp reviews. It's amazing.
Oh no, like I don't remember who it was, but I know that there's like a huge collection of basically things that say "fuck this guy in particular, he's a scammer."
Yeah,
like there's like just this one dude that like everyone.
There's
like,
this one merchant that like everyone shadowed.
Yeah, and Nacer, yes, and it's crappy copper.
Yes, yeah, that's it.
It's just like this one dude is like such a trash bag that he
amazing.
Like pissed off an entire country pre-internet.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, wow. I suppose that's one way to hit a history book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy. All right.
Anywho.
Anyhow, so like that's why Reiko is commissioning
Sure.
the flashcards in this manner, because it's way more creative and effectual than she could come up with.
Gotcha.
But honestly, like Gideon will appreciate something along those lines. Honestly.
Yeah, so like flashcards and any other kinds of like learning aids and that kind of sense.
Lo-fi learning aids. Gideon is all in.
Lo-fi learning aids to listen to music to.
That's not what I meant, but yes.
It's just,
it's like okay. Can we get it? Can we get this in an audio Victrola form? I'm sure that Gideon has a cylinder player in their office.
What is
Probably.
the image for this? Is it just Gideon like at his typewriter, like as the music plays?
But it's a very anime-looking version of Gideon. All right.
Using his cat ear rotary telephone, you know. It's getting progressively more cursed, Peter. You can't stop it.
I'm not trying to. I think it's hilarious.
What do you mean cursed? This is amazing.
Now I kind of want this, honestly.
Yeah, actually, I was just about to say this. Like, I kind of actually want this. I was like, any fan artists out there?
Like pixel art anime Gideon sitting at a typewriter with sort of music, like lo-fi music playing.
Yes.
And then like Reiko over there, like with flashcards.
Lo-fi beats to reap souls too.
Nice.
Nice. All right, we should move forward though.
Okay.
Oh boy.
So you guys get to work on that.
Yeah.
There are also some reports that get filed. There are very brief, Jerome, you actually get a brief missive from Maurice that's just kind of like a little encouraging note. That just kind of says like, "Oh, keep up the good work." And there's, after a little bit of examining, you kind of get this kind of like note of relief from it that you just kind of did your job and everything's fine.
Like Jerome and Maurice have probably worked together for a good long time, and Jerome is on pretty good, which is funny because he's an owl and Maurice is a mouse.
It's almost like I did that on purpose.
Yeah. And it's just like, oh, it's like, oh, good. Maurice is finally relaxed. Like, I'm starting to like of everything that happened during all of that. That is the one thing he's very legitimately felt bad about, because he's like, man, Maurice goes through so much shit, and I'm sorry I ruined his day.
Let's see here. What am I trying to do? Okay. Okay.
I realize this isn't feng shui, but we get a training montage.
Yeah, sure.
Only if we played Eye of the Tiger at the time.
No, it's got to be lo-fi Eye of the Tiger. I mean, that's got to be a thing, right?
It's a 1920s jazz remake of Eye of the Tiger.
That's almost certain. I wouldn't be surprised if Postmodern Jukebox had done that.
I was gonna say there's been big
I'm over
band
here wondering,
covers of
like,
shit
is there vaporwave Eye of the Tiger?
Oh, that's easy. Oh, that's super easy to do.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, you just slow it down, pitch it down a little bit, add some reverb. There you go. There's your vaporwave treatment of it.
I mean, it's already an 80s song, so
Yeah, you get. Yeah, you start listening to this music, and it goes, doo 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 doo.
That's the Eye of the Tiger.
I will say, apparently, according to the internet, there on YouTube, there are multiple different lo-fi instrumental versions of Eye of the Tiger.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I know what I'm doing.
I do think that that song could be relaxing.
Oh, sure.
With your interpretation. All right. So working hard now is so hard now. So you guys go through that. You guys are making some preparation, and I'm sure you've got you did do an investigation of the gallery ahead of time, so maybe you guys actually gather around a freaking map of it and are like, all right, well, we're here, we'll do this.
Yeah, sure. Honestly, yes, we should. We will.
We're basically planning a heist of sorts. Just we're stealing info instead of product.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt shows up to help you guys with the planning.
What are you doing here?
Don Cheadle's there, and
no. You have to remember. Important note: Brad Pitt shows up with food in hand because
he's always eating in those planning sessions.
Yes, he's always eating. No, he's always eating in those movies. Always.
Yeah.
Unless he's in character as someone else.
Mm-hmm.
That was was apparently intentional.
There's another person I think of like eating unnecessarily on camera.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very different energy. It's Hulk Hogan on Thunder in Paradise, because they're always eating in their fucking boat when they're going. It's like it's carbohydrates, rocket ship for the fuel for the rocket ship.
It's all right, guys. We're gonna go fight these pirates because we're all carved up on Pastamania, dude.
Pastamania, it's glorious. We're running wild on your brother.
This is the best thing to do when getting into an action scene, brother.
But Thunder in Paradise really is just that like night boat joke about in The Simpsons. Like, there's always a canal or there's always a river.
Oh no, there isn't though. I've watched Thunder in Paradise, and it isn't that. No, it's just a bunch of shit shot at Epcot in Disney, and it tries at like different locations around the world. It's bonkers. Anyways,
Truly wonderful.
Tangents.
Yes.
That is a tangent.
Welcome to tabletop role playing games. Sometimes, folks.
Right.
Anywho,
so you guys are doing all your playing and stuff.
Yes.
You've got to. So hit me with what your plan is.
Okay.
Like in terms of like what's everyone going to be doing when your guys are doing this? What's your plan of approach?
All right, so I'm actually going to research appropriate prices for Teague's work.
Okay.
Especially now that she's dead, and I'm going to try to get as much as I can out of this guy. Obviously.
In character, that's what you would do. Yes.
Yeah, because in character, that's what I would do. But I'm also like, I don't know anything about the Stanford guy. But I want to see what I can glean about his interests, so I can derail with tangents into stuff that he might actually go down, as would be appropriate. Because I also want to give Gideon as much time as possible.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Jerome relays what he remembers of the interior of the building, because I do remember Jerome was the one who basically found the office and set up the spell to allow Gideon to get in without anyone noticing.
Yes, so that I could get by. So while I was invisible, the door would open. I can't just walk through the door. I don't have Misty Step.
Right.
Gideon can move very quickly, but he cannot teleport.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've established what Reiko's getting up to. She is educating someone notably older than her.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Sorry. I had one last idea of an analog way of doing computer instruction for Gideon.
Okay.
And that is by proxy of a play. Because I'm imagining the Matthew Perry, Jennifer Aniston promotional video that explains how Windows 95 works.
Oh my god!
But imagine that, but as a stage show, like a Shakespearean stage play.
Okay. On the one hand, I like the idea.
Point yon cursor in.
It's a Greek tragedy. One of the bastards is Clippy.
What were you gonna say, Forney?
As much as I like this idea, you have a lot of confidence in Reiko's ability to get this shit done in 3 days.
Listen. Tananars can help. Tananars is a theater kid.
Eternal. And he knows a lot of other theater kids too.
and also they can do all this. They can do the entire they can do the entire user manual in iambic pentameter. Of course they can.
That's not actually necessary, but sure.
I just like the idea. It's just how dumb can we go with the lowest phi way of doing it?
Sure.
Anyways, I had to just get that joke out there.
That's good.
Continue.
Yes.
I will say that the big challenge that Reiko will be facing, because she is not going to try to organize a stage play of this, is actually getting a computer that we can use as a demo station. She has a more modern computer than is generally available around here in the office, because it can actually run spreadsheets at all. Probably going to need something, at least references to something more modern.
As my position, we're going to talk about dead computers. We got the Apple II GS as a good option. We got a couple of other machines that have been killed off by their manufacturers that must be here, right?
I mean, there's probably a Celeron around here somewhere.
Just not an entire computer, just a Celeron processor just laying on the ground somewhere. No, an E machine. That's what we got. We got E machines.
It looks like you are trying to install.
I hate to say it, but there's almost certainly somewhere in Limbo a computer running Windows Millennium Edition.
Yeah, it's Windows ME.
Yeah, that's probably going to be the most modern thing.
Yes.
Gosh, unfortunately, it has Microsoft Bob installed on it. There,
probably.
which is going to make things that's gonna
What a
fuck everything
cursed
up.
object.
Does it have Professor Helper while we're at it? Christ.
All right, but I will point out that Tan is more than happy to assist Reiko in getting these things together for Gideon. So anything that she's doing, we can assume that she has either guidance, aid,
or contacts through you.
All right,
Yes.
and so in terms of what you guys are going to be doing during it, we know for a fact that there's going to be two faces for this, and the Gideon's going to be doing poking around, trying to do stuff visibly.
Right.
Tan, Reiko, what do you think you're going to be doing during the actual heist? Are you guys going to like be hanging around trying to be invisible, or are you going to be there in like physical bodies? What do you think?
I have no idea.
I mean, basically, Tan is the type of person to want to be there in body in some form. They like being in the field. I mean, they're willing to. If Reiko wants to be out there as well, Tan can vouch for her and provide necessary cover and such. But
I feel
there's
like
no reason why we couldn't have Canada there also.
I mean, admittedly, like if this is going to be like some sort of business transaction, there's all sorts of different reasons to have extra people there who weren't there for just initially scouting out the place.
Yeah.
So my line of thought here is that Reiko's real claim to fame here, skill-wise, is that while Gideon does have the observant feet, so he has a very solid floor, Reiko is nearly good at that without it and has a higher capacity in that sense. So I feel like being bodiless and just kind of overseeing things and keeping an eye out both within and without, just kind of like moving around, making sure there's like something, like everything is cogent and not like something's going to go weird, either from a physical sense, a metaphysical sense, or a bureaucratic sense.
Okay, so you want to basically be a lookout invisibly.
Yes, just be a
All right.
spotter.
All right.
And if
so
like something's weird, then I can just like signal folks.
All right. Fortunately, you guys have kind of like given yourselves a pretty tight window to do things, since that there is a limited time that you would be able to do that. But
and I know exactly what the signal would be. You cause harmless tremors in the ground for 1 minute. That's a cantrip.
All right. So we got a lookout. You got and Eric, you were saying that you guys think that you would want Tan to be present.
I think having Tan like be on site, like maybe as like dressed like security, like they're coming in like to make sure that when they receive the money they can get out without there being a problem.
Okay.
That might be an idea. What do you think?
We could do that. We could also just have him be the money guy.
That's an idea.
I just like if this was something where there was gonna be like an auction or some sort of negotiation, being the jerk that raises the price by just like trying to outbid the other people involved.
$1 more than what that guy said.
Is this the price right? Yeah, $1 more than what they bet.
All right.
Price is fright. Let's go.
Okay, that all works for me. Okay, so you guys go about doing your preparations and planning. The night before your scheduled meeting for this purchase, Reiko, you wake up to darkness.
I cast light. Reiko just holds like up her finger and her fingertip just illuminates.
Give me a strength check.
Oh no. I'll just roll the save. It's going to be the same regardless.
Okay. You find that...
I'm a nerd.
You find that you are very slow to even make your hand twitch as you try to raise it. You can feel it just kind of like resting limply at your side. there is a very low, dull buzz in your ears. Very, very distant and muffled by a kind of low hissing wind, it almost sounds like either like you're in a cave and you can very distantly hear the opening of the cave as wind whistles through it.
Okay, who's there? There's always someone here when this is happening. Who is it? Knock, knock. Oh, come on. Don't leave me hanging.
Give me a perception check. Okay. You try to make your presence known to someone, and then you pause and you try and see if anyone has heard you. And you do start to think that you hear what maybe sounds like a voice, but you can't quite grasp what it is saying.
Okay. Thaumaturgy component, verbal only. Your voice booms up to 3 times as loud as normal for 1 minute. I'm over here. Come on and talk to me.
I have a feeling I know.
Okay. Let me do this one more. Ooh, okay. All right, let me get this straight in my head. All right, you raise your voice, and that faint noise that you think is a voice in response, you can tell that it starts to sound a bit louder, a bit more urgent, and that it is coming towards you.
Oh boy.
And you suddenly feel a surge through your limbs of simultaneous warmth and numbness. And then you wake up in your bed in your apartment.
Oh good, someone plugged me in. Oh, that was weird. Dreams are weird in Limbo. Rega goes about her business.
Okay. Okay. So, going to the art house.
Woo!
All right. We've got Gideon and Reiko going in invisibly.
Yes.
We've got Dentalion in character as Mr. Palmer. We've got Jerome as, I guess, the actual owner of the art piece or the holder of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we've got Tananar's there as well. So the three of you going into the gallery. You guys already know your way inside from last time.
Yep.
And this time as you approach, the woman who was there previously, she stands up. You know, she has been expecting your arrival, and she starts to reach for her phone at the desk, but literally, like, Herbert Yates has apparently been just kind of poking around the corner, waiting for your arrival, and he comes up all smiles, walking a little bit, extra briskly and quickly. He says, "Oh yes, welcome back. It's good to see you all, and
Yeah. Great to see you, Herbert. Glad we can get this squared away.
Yes, quite. Well, if you will, if you gentlemen will please accompany me, I shall take you to a private area for the negotiations and the auction can begin.
Excellent.
So is Jerome going to set up the same spell he did last time?
Jerome can do that on the way.
Because it'd be helpful for opening the door.
Yeah, like Jerome can do that on the way in, assuming they take the route that passes by that. Yes.
Is this actually feasible, Nick?
I believe that was how you guys did it before.
It was. I'm just saying if it's feasible again this time.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Things haven't changed. I mean, as far as anyone was concerned, there was no security breach the last time you guys did this.
No, there's no reason to change it. I just want to check to make sure.
Yeah, no.
All right, great.
Look, certain complications can arise for no reason, but in terms of this is one of them. So.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, so Jerome just sets up the loop. Now that he knows, well, he can do silent image, or he can do minor illusion. Either works for this.
Yeah,
he just does it as they pass by, and you guys go in. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Okay. Before entering, I will actually give it a listen at the door, just to be sure there's no one in there.
Okay. You don't. I mean, I will say this without a perception roll. You don't hear anything.
Okay. I'll wait a moment. And open the door.
Okay.
Look in. Does it seem to be empty?
It seems like it's empty. Seems like there's.
All right.
It's
then I will.
The same office you saw before.
Great. So. I will head in.
Okay.
Close the door behind me.
Okay.
I'm assuming that Reiko is followed in also.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right.
Like, if there's not a door in her way, Reiko is just going to kind of meander and just keep watch.
Excellent. Gideon will sit down. All right. And now we will see if I'm able to make use of this information you have spent so much time helping me with. So Gideon will start searching the computer for information, trying to find Mr. Stanford's contact information.
Okay.
Since that is what I am here for.
All right. So you're going to be doing an investigation.
I kind of guessed. So. I will push the button. Beep. An 11.
All right.
I'm going to use my once per session reroll.
Okay.
23.
There we go.
Much better roll.
Yes.
All right. So I'll give you this for one thing. There is a phone number that has been used to contact Mr. Stanford.
Aha.
So you have that.
Excellent.
It is at the very least the way that the museum gets in touch with him, seemingly.
Okay.
It's not like they have a huge profile on him as one of the buyers. He is one of the buyers. But there is a record of different things that he has bought from them over time as well.
I will jot those down. I'm copying whatever information I can get on the guy, honestly.
I can tell you this. There are a couple of things here and there that do not fall within this pattern, but it seems like the vast majority of his purchases from the constable have been Teague works.
Aha. Well,
as you're poking around, going through stuff, like you find this stuff in like a record of different transactions and everything. You have the cross-referencing list of different work. Like there was the list of preferred or first tier, I guess, buyers for Cecilia's paintings, and you kind of are looking through their records as well, and you get like a different impression from each of them. So, for example, there is there is Patricia Howell, who is the woman who claims to have discovered Cecilia, and she's got a very large catalog of stuff that she has sponsored, stuff that she has purchased.
Right.
Teague's paintings are just really just like a part of that.
Right.
Marshall Bailey is a lot more restrained with the stuff that he purchases, and so his catalog of like stuff looks quite similar to Stanford's in terms of like there's a few things here and there, but really it's mostly just like some of Cecilia's stuff, and there's also fewer works overall that he's purchased.
Okay.
So it seems to be a lot more. He seems to be very selective. There is a general kind of mix similar to Patricia Howell's for the other three in terms of like, oh, there's just like a whole bunch of stuff here. Cobb, who was one of the names, has just in general like buys expensive stuff.
Right.
There's not quite as many works that he has purchased, but the stuff that he gets seems to have pretty high price tags on it. And that's basically what you discover. So the general impression that you get is that of the 6 people here, like each of them kind of have their own focuses and stuff, but in particular, like Marshall Bailey seems to have a particular predilection towards getting specifically Cecilia stuff, as does Stanford.
Right.
But yeah, unfortunately, like it's not like they have some sort of thing of like, oh, this is who Stanford is. There's nothing in regards to like his full name or anything like that. It's about as much as you were able to get from the search that Reiko did earlier. Though there is also some stuff that seems to indicate that Stanford has apparently, despite not being a huge buyer with the gallery, also kind of seemingly gone out of this way to remain in their good graces. There are a number of things saying like, oh, there was this this event that he sponsored anonymously, basically, just like made a contribution to help put an event on, but didn't want his name attached to it. So lots of donations, and so the kind of stuff that would put a person in the good graces of any company just by being a source of money for them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Meanwhile, the rest of you follow Yates through the gallery. He leads you past like the storage area that you had placed the portrait in earlier, and he's chatting with you, to try and like keep things like positive and keep the money flowing, kind of thing. It's like,
Right.
oh, like, aren't we excited to be exchanging money and giving me a cut of it, kind of thing. And he says like, I'm quite glad that things didn't end up working out the way that they did. I was quite concerned, honestly, that we would not be able to make the connection happen as a result of that.
It worked out. I'm glad everything was able to work out. Glad we were able to move some things around on my end. Yeah.
Honestly, things rarely work out in terms of coordinating schedules as smoothly as things have. Honestly, I believe I might have outdone myself. I managed to get just about every one of our normal prospective buyers to be available for this event.
Oh, you've got more people there. Excellent.
Oh, yes. I fully confess that I was concerned that we would not be able to have Mr. Stanford be available. Fortunately, that is not the case. He was able to make time for us, as we've established. But yes, there are some other, shall we say, major players in the world of fine art collection and cultivation that were able to make time in the days for us as well. And normally we have to plan these things months ahead of time, but well, I fully admit that part of it is because it is one of Miss Teague's works that they are here. The idea of there being a bit of a mystery one that they had not heard rumor of. I think was quite a bit of acted as quite a honeyed bit of bait for them.
Well, I'm glad you're able to use that to your advantage because I'm glad to everything's working out so far. Let's hope everything keeps going. Yeah, if you got more buyers, then you really have outdone yourself. Well done, man.
Yes, and just Mr. Palmer, if I can also say that if you have any interest in having business dealings with any of our clientele here, this is a fine place to make connections. There is no need for you to well, there's no need to put on appearances. That's one of the benefits of becoming a regular here.
I smell what you're cooking. Thanks. That helps things out a little bit.
If you want to give me an insight check with advantage.
Yeah. Insight.
Yeah, anyone who is present for this can.
Yeah, Reiko is skulking about on this one.
That's not terrible.
Okay. Let's see.
Do I get the advantage as well?
What was the roll again?
Dan will get it with advantage because he was on the phone earlier, and this is in context with that. But everyone else can just give an insight on what's going on in the conversation here.
Gideon very much does not hear any of this.
Right.
Insight.
Yep. 10.
God damn.
Jerome's paranoia is
18,
kicking in
16,
again.
17, 20.
Oh shit! Well, no, we did get a straight. We needed a 19 in order to get a return.
Mecca, roll insight just to see if we get a straight.
If we get a 19 on this, yeah.
Fine, I'll roll it just for the funny.
Just for
the lulz.
Yeah. Don't fuck it up. You got a 1 in 20 chance. Oh, all right. Okay, so
well, we get nothing. Thanks a lot, Peter.
Nothing. It's just an ace 10 queen king and a 2. That's all.
The small straight. Don't you know heard about that?
Small straight. So everyone here except Jerome, well, Jerome as well, you get the impression that yes, what happened earlier was that Herbert Yates did get suspicious of the fact that you were very centered on trying to have a business dealings with, or he thinks business dealings with Stanford, and we're trying to use this as a way of of just like making that connection. That's in and of itself is not any concern of his. Like if that's right. Like an aim, then all he has to do is make sure, like, okay, well, I'm not going to betray the contact information of someone who has given me all this money. I want to stay in his good graces, and I won't do that. However, Jerome, you read into this a little bit further and realize that this is also why there is a proper like auction going on, as opposed to him just having called Stanford in order to facilitate this dealing, is that he wants the sale of the art piece to not be a means to an end, because then if it doesn't happen and you make a connection with Stanford otherwise, then the sale doesn't need to get made. And the more buyers being present there means that there is a greater chance that someone will buy it, and thus the gallery will get their commission for it. So if you guys, and he is also speaking to Dan this way to ensure that if you want to use the gallery as a way of like, having meetings with, a rich guy and have rich business dealings and stuff, that's great. Just make sure that you are attending the auctions and stuff while you're doing that, so that I can
go through proper channels.
Right. Make sure that
he can wet his beak.
Rewards.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he can wet his beak while he doesn't burn other clients. Gotcha.
Right. So
follow the protocol.
Fortunately, none of this comes into conflict with what you guys are trying to do anyway.
Yeah.
So
actually helps a lot that he thinks this.
Yeah. The only real complication, of course, is the fact that there are going to be other people here, which might not necessarily be a bad thing, But more moving pieces can, of course, complicate matters, especially considering you guys were just planning a heist. So
Yeah.
Yeah, like so now there's 5 additional people in the room, plus possibly more security, plus whoever else they bring.
potentially more witnesses for anything that might happen.
So that brings a line of thought to my head.
Does make the plan to murder more difficult.
That does bring a thought to mind. So Wyrot, recall the arrangement that we came to regarding the adjustment of the detect poison spell to help me figure out where the traces of the drug are. I'm wondering someone here might be on it and might actually be able to see us.
I just had the same thought. I'm like, oh shit, if Stanford is here, he might be on this stuff because he knows
any of the others for that matter.
Yeah.
You know. So like
that's a good call.
I think I'd like to know if anyone if anyone is under that influence. So Reiko's just gonna like find a quiet corner and throw that spell, just be like, okay.
Is anyone wearing a suspicious pair of sunglasses?
There are people who are wearing suspicious pairs of sunglasses.
Because you don't say.
They are big and have suits on. So.
So yeah, she's just gonna go to a quiet corner and I will cast the spell with your permission.
Yes, go ahead.
Womp.
All right. Give me an Arcana check too, because I believe this was something that we discussed that you would kind of need to do a little bit of extra. Yeah, all right. I'll definitely give you that on just a 16. So you can sense the presence and location of poisonous creatures and diseases within 30 feet. Okay. All right.
Yeah, 30-foot range on detect drug.
Okay. I will say that just to ensure that you don't have a sense of security about using this, that as the spell is written, this doesn't necessarily allow you to detect poisoned creatures. So, I mean, like you can detect disease and stuff, but I think that's different.
Yeah, it's detecting causes of disease, not people who are diseased, if I'm not mistaken there. Yeah.
So I'm not going to see any like glowing eyes, but if they have like traces on like their fingers that have got it in their
or if someone or like if someone is carrying the substance that you're trying to detect on their person, then that would be a different.
It's better than nothing. I'll take it.
Drugged gummy bears,
drugs. They might have it in pills, like on themselves, just in case they need to do this.
Exactly.
Possibly.
Yeah, like even if they don't know about it and that's not like an active move on that part, knowing that in and of itself is very helpful.
Okay.
Because like that's a warning right there.
All right. So, having had that conversation and this kind of invitation from Yates to sort of like become part of like the inner circle here, because there's a lot of money that's being talked about. You guys proceed with him. You end up going, into this area that's not like out of the way. It's, one of those things where like there's a set of like fancy, kind of semi-fancy double doors that lead into an auction hall area, or at least an area that's being used as such, and certainly gets used this way a whole lot. And there is security like posted outside there. But it's not as if it's, like completely hidden that this is happening. It's just, like, look, this is a private area. It's closed off to the public because it's a private auction taking place. And you guys head in.
It's this private auction.
Probably, yeah. So you guys head in there. You do not like see the painting being put up because it hasn't been brought out yet. But you see, quite a few people that are kind of like, just like lurking in the corners, who are obviously there as different forms of security. And you see people with rich noses, like if you take my meaning, like it's maybe their noses
they're
like
all
aren't
pointed
big.
in the air.
Yeah, they're not necessarily big noses, but they're holding themselves in a way that make their noses look big. There's a total of 5 different people in the room who look like they are here not as part of the staff or part of the security, but are here to actually make the purchase. From what you guys have looked up about the different people who were associated with Cecilia Teague, you are able to kind of like match them to the faces that you've seen in pictures and stuff like that. And it seems as though of the 6 people that were kind of on that short list earlier, 5 of them are here. The person who is missing is Fletcher Cobb, the business magnate who was basically going after really expensive paintings. And but you see amongst them the people gathered here, you see Miguel Reyes, you see Samuel Hoffman, you see Patricia Howell, Marshall Bailey, and Mr. Stanford. And as the doors open, a few of them turn to look at you, and there is an older woman in a dress that can be described as somehow simultaneously like chic and experimental, and yet also bizarrely like old-fashioned. It's a really strange, gives a really strange mix of impressions of like, this is very, very new, but also very, very old-fashioned.
I'm just thinking of those like tiny little caps that you see like ladies wearing in like the 60s or whatever that are just kind of like, I don't know, how would you describe them? Basically, it's like if you took the shape of like a can, made it fabric, and turned it upside down. Like I'm just thinking of like one of those.
She's got a hat on. I don't know what kind of hat it is, but she
of
does.
course,
I have no idea what
hat.
those are called, but I'm just like thinking it's one of those kind of hats, and that's why she looks old, because it's a hat straight out of like the 50s or something.
1940s, Pinky. Everyone wore hats all the time.
She approaches the 3 of you, and she's holding her hands at her sides in a way that seems bizarrely unnatural as she walks. And she says, "Oh, you must be Mr. Palmer." And she goes right up to Tan and offers her hand like wrist first to you. "It is so lovely to meet you. I am Patricia Howell."
If I must be Mr. Palmer, you must be gravely mistaken. And then Tan
let it go to
takes
see.
her
I was
hand
going to see how long this went.
and
Mr. Palmer, man.
and just shakes it. I'm actually part of Mr. Palmer's protege. You can find him right over there.
You specifically give me an insight check here.
Tan?
Yes.
The termage, it's just through.
Is she down?
It's like,
all right. So
you were greatly mistaken.
There is obviously, she has committed a little bit of a social faux pas, but so have you, because she offered you her hand and you shook it.
It's just kind of like, okay, you know what? Let's not speak about this.
Right. So she just kind of like immediately like hears that you're right. She hears that you are the help essentially, and immediately the
hand pulls back.
The focus light goes, turns it away from you, and you're forgotten. And she goes,
perfectly executed. I got the sasser and no consequences, baby.
Yeah.
I listen. She offered her hand. She made the mistake. Okay.
She goes to you, Dentalian, and offers the hand as if nothing has happened with this other person at all whatsoever.
So pleased to meet you. So, I'm guessing you're a fan of Miss Teague's work as well.
Oh, my good sir. Far from a fan is how I describe myself. No, I I am Cecilia's greatest supporter. I am practically her guide into the world of fine art. You know, they say that Cecilia really only was introduced to the world of art after I discovered her.
Oh, jeez, I want to pile drive this woman already. suplex.
No roles necessary. Like, she says this, and very obviously the youngest person among the buyers, who's definitely Marshall Bailey, rolls his eyes a little bit.
Fucking hell! This woman.
It's just like, just arrange the tables like.
Oh, so you must have known her for a while then. I've never had the pleasure of meeting her myself.
Oh, yes, Cecilia and I have go back. It's been nearly 2 decades at this point, I should think.
Oh, well. So how did you guys meet then?
Well, it's quite a fascinating little story. You see, back when I was back before Cecilia really hit it big, as they say, she was a humble art student who was just putting on her first showing, and she launches into this like unnecessarily long and overly complicated story that basically just boils down to Cecilia put it on an art show. I showed up, bought one of her paintings. That's just kind of it.
Yeah, we already know what the backstory of this woman is, and it's just like, oh boy.
Yeah.
Hearing it from the source is the worst thing.
She's so, like, the minute she showed up, I was like, there is someone full of stolen glory. Okay.
I like to think that Tan leads over to Jerome and just sort of whispers, and this is why I brushed her off immediately.
You guys know, like, that thing that happens when you're trying to look up like a recipe for something, and you find a recipe online.
One of the blog recipes.
When I was a child, my mother would.
Yeah, there's a reason they do that.
Yes,
I like that she hasn't even introduced herself to Jerome, who is standing right next to.
They've got a better reason than this one does.
Is going. Although, to be fair,
right, there's an economic reason for that to happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's just pretentious.
Yeah, Jerome is definitely here in like his Slav rich guy best, you know, like Adidas tracksuit.
Okay, so we're gonna roll initiative here. Here's the situation. Eric, Dantalion is currently engaged in melee combat with.
Right, I can tank for the rest of the team. You guys go hunt for everyone.
Shit, I rolled a 6.
You are marked, and if you try and shift, she will follow. The rest of you are free to engage the others as you see fit.
I'll take one for the team. I'll let you guys go hunting.
I will grab the nearest just exhibit that is just an open bucket of paint and wield that as a ranged weapon.
It's the work that you have just interfered with is referred to as Lake of Origin.
Lake of Origin. No, that's a very good
Duchamp,
name.
because this sounds like a Duchamp thing.
No. That's not Duchamp. God.
I'm sorry, it's not silly enough to be a Duchamp.
You're right. That's the point there. I appreciate that, because I was trying to, like, we can't just do a Duchamp joke here. We just can't. Headars grabs a urinal that's just sitting in the middle of the exhibit.
There we go.
You grab a can of soda that when you pick it up, realize it actually has about like a tenth of the liquid that was inside it. So it's still kind of like trickling around in there. So.
Oh shit! Wow, vintage.
I know what to do.
So a Warhol.
So what Jerome does is he grabs the banana peel that is stapled to the wall and throws it in front of her and tries to tip her.
That banana's already been sold. Well, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay.
All right. So yes, the two of you are like free to do whatever else you want. But yes, Eric, this will be a social interaction that you will need to find a way out of before you can do anything else. And you might just be occupied until the auction begins properly.
I'm okay tanking for the team right now.
Okay.
Idiot bullshit is what Dentalion's good at. So
honestly, out of the people in your group, you're probably the best suited for this situation.
Yeah.
So just as a follow-up, because things are kind of starting to kick off, as it were. Is Reiko seeing anything alarming,
In
or at least
terms of
worthy
using
of concern?
Okay. Give me a perception check.
Pretty good.
I've seen. All right, so you look around the room. Obviously, like I said before, there is like security stationed around here. You like take a good look at them, and this isn't exactly your realm of expertise, but they do just look like rich people security to your eyes. It's not as if any of them seem out of place or anything like that. There's like guys who are wearing suits, just kind of stationed, just trying to stay out of the way. One or two of them are wearing sunglasses, despite the fact that they are indoors and in a not extremely well lit room. This is a realm for like showcasing a piece of art, as opposed to like you're not under a bunch of sun lamps or anything like that. The sunglasses are entirely unnecessary.
We're just at a golf club. It's okay.
Right. So
I fit right in.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that's the main thing you see about that. You do not see like any indication that anyone is carrying like pills or any other form of the drug that you guys were testing earlier. Like you take a good look around, you filter around the place, and are just kind of like focusing on people's pockets and stuff. Don't see a trace of it on anyone. As you are going around, you also, get a chance to kind of like take a look at Stanford and the other prospective buyers here. Stanford seems just like very neutral. He has, you can roll for this, but he is a stone wall in terms of his expression.
Insight?
Yeah, you can roll insight if you want to, but he is
roll, dang it.
Quiet. And
that was horrible.
You get nothing off of him.
Yeah, passive 15, but yeah.
With just your passive, you're looking at the others. Obviously, like Patricia Howell is like insisting that you succeed insight checks on her, basically. And the others, like, it's like
she is aggressively extroverted.
Right. Reyes and Hoffman are, just like kind of like carrying themselves quietly. The two of them are actually engaged in quiet conversation, and it seems to just be generally friendly. Marshall Bailey is actually looking directly at Dentalion, and does not seem happy.
Rico will prioritize her visualizations on Bailey and Stanford, because Bailey might screw things up for us. Stanford is our mark, so we're kind of. She's going to keep watching him just by virtue of he's kind of why we're here, and she's just keeping an eye on Bailey to make sure that Bailey doesn't ruin things for us.
Okay. Tan, Jerome, what do you guys want to do?
So at this point, like Jerome, he's he's very much sticking out. He's in his Slav vest. He purposely dressed so he wouldn't have to interact with most of the people. And as far as Mr. Yates remembers, he barely speaks English anyways. So he's mostly observing what's going on and making sure that like security doesn't like head out towards where Gideon is doing his stuff.
Okay.
Because like whatever happens with the sale is important, but it's not as important as making sure that Gideon doesn't get caught in the act.
Okay.
Which would be a little hard, him being dead and invisible, but
I'm probably not currently invisible per se.
You might need to manifest to actually use the computer.
Yeah.
What about you, Tan?
Gosh, it's so hard to say like what I should be doing or I could be doing here. I would say Tan is just sort of roaming / mingling about idly and just sort of trying to notice if there's anyone outside of just Stanford and whoever that lady who didn't know who Tan was in terms of
if you'd like a suggestion, Reiko might indicate towards you to go hit up Bailey just to distract him, since he seems to have thoughts about Dan.
Yeah, honestly,
I mean, Tan.
Just a suggestion.
Tan can go engage in small to medium talk with Bailey in order to kind of
honestly, if Bailey wants to make a scene and that will help get out of this and still have me doing my job tanking. So,
I for the interim, it'll be nice to just see how long Tan can maintain Bailey's attention while Bailey is looking backwards between Tan and.
Plus,
and
you can always use the situation to direct Bailey into causing a scene to free Dan up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
so
get any information that might be useful while we're at it.
Basically, the plan is to introduce, get some information, and then I wouldn't say antagonize, but that's kind of the closest idea of just like sort of say things, acting like Tan is just being careless or like not even realizing that he's might be drawing ire from Bailey.
Instigate.
Okay.
Not quite instigate, but like because I wanted to. I guess my main attitude is like to have the appearance of being innocent when the subtext is yes instigating.
Okay. Okay.
There.
All right. Yeah, let's do that. How you go about this?
I would say that Tan would approach initially and just sort of be like, slightly pompous as the scene kind of allows for, make introductions and begin by just prattling on observations about the other items in the exhibit / auction, possibly feeding incorrect information that Bailey may or may not know is actually false.
Okay.
You're coming across like a huckster.
Yeah, give me a history roll.
Or I was hoping for deception. It has to be like, but yes,
you got to make sure your deception is accurate, man.
Do I want to reroll this or not? Yeah.
I mean, that's average. I mean, it's above average with your bonus.
It's like, listen, is it accurate enough for a Wikipedia editor?
Right, exactly. So I think that's enough for you to, get your meaning across for what you're trying to do. If you were trying to come across as a legitimately knowledgeable person who was trying to be impressive, maybe not. Give me a deception roll.
All right, let's go. That's a natural 20, 27.
Nice. Okay.
Nice.
What is the reaction you want to provoke, Skitch?
And essentially whatever is most useful for Dan. I would assume that like it's sort of, I like to think of this idea of Bailey being the type of person that will initially start correcting when someone says the wrong thing, but then when they just continue to get things progressively more and more wrong, they get more and more frustrated. And but Tan's just being so sincere and so like, cheerful about it, but he's just so dumb. He just doesn't know. He doesn't even know how dumb he is. Where the hell is this guy? Why is he allowed in here? What is this person? Just like,
honestly, I think the best solution is to get someone talking with Stanford to start gleaning information. Again, I can tank both of these people if you guys want.
I guess that at some point Tank is just like, well, this is all just me. This is all just from my my protege, the person I'm here for, and then point over to Dantalion. It's just sort of be like, I'm gonna have. Oh, not so much. I want to speak to your overseer, but like I want to tell him how much of a dumbass you are. Kind of.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you're trying to.
Yeah, he's just the face for
right.
For,
You're trying to
other
direct.
guy, and
Yeah.
So you are trying to direct him over to Dan.
Correct.
Okay.
Under the
Dan's
guise.
just the face for Mr.
Yeah.
For Mr. Owl.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of your character.
Mr. Owl.
Jerome, thank you.
Yeah, Jerome. His alias his alias as this Slav gentleman is Mr. Pio.
It's a poisonous bed.
But yes.
All right. Okay. You approach Bailey, and he does one of those kind of things that, like, where like he's focused on something else. He's looking over at Dan, and then you come up to him, and so he kind of has to do a little bit of double take and focus his attention on you. You start like bringing up like it's like, oh yes, the works that they've got here from the Neo-Balakan period or whatever the hell it is. I don't know nearly enough about fine art to even make up bullshit about fine art. So
yes, this is an example of pre-minimalism here. Works.
Excuse me, pre-minimalism.
Yes. I mean,
did you just say pre-minimalism?
Yeah. Yes, of course. I mean, listen. There's post-minimalist, minimalist, and pre-minimalist.
No, there isn't.
I mean, there has to be. Like anytime there's a temporal period in the world of arts, there's a pre, during, and post.
Why would? All right. Think about what you just said. Why would anyone refer to a period in artwork as pre something that hasn't yet happened in their timeline?
Well, that's for the historians to decide.
No, it's not.
It's all. I mean, listen. This, as long as we're just making up eras of art and such, I think that minimalism is going to make a comeback, and then we'll be in the re-minimalist period, and that's
all right.
I'm just over here going like, of course you fucking picked minimalism to be the subject of your buffoonery.
Listen, listen.
Excuse me. What did you say your name was?
Oh, actually, I forgot what Tan's cover name was there, but
I don't think you had one established. I think you just make one up.
Trying to. Okay. 1 second. I got
Coventry.
I'm trying to think. Oh no, I got it's a Dilla Plas actually.
Mr. Plas, what exactly is your role here?
Oh, I'm a protege of and I'm let me forget. Was it?
Palmer is Dantalion's.
I'm a protege of Mr. Palmer over there.
Protege. So you follow in his line of work, which is
it's extensive. We pride ourselves. We pride ourselves as being both collectors and as neo-historians trying to reset
neo-historians.
Yes. We believe that the current history in which art is described is both insufficient, incomplete, and kind of, aesthetically displeasing. And so we want to propose a new, vibrant, exciting, a sexy way of describing the history of art.
You can see that he's doing that thing.
You're trying to give this man a heart attack and an aneurysm at the same time from blood pressure.
One.
This.
I'm like, what about the actual art student over here?
He is yes, that is worth pointing out. In addition to being a painter, he went to a fine arts institution. So
Tad will do the most egregious thing, like, well, listen, as a philosophy graduate myself, I believe that. I'm very well equipped to pontificate on the merits of the annals of history here.
I'm actually surprised you use the proper meaning of the word pontificate. Honestly. So you are Mr. Palmer's protege. And
indeed.
and he shares this outlook and focus in his field of expertise.
I assure you that they and I are in lockstep ontologically with respect to this.
Oh,
And the two of
Sketch,
you...
I just want to point out how cruel you're being to Eric right now.
Yeah.
Eric,
Because you're going to make Eric have to say this shit.
Listen, these are jokes that, listen, to be fair, this is the types of jokes I would make with my peers in conservatory about music history.
Yes.
Okay?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. No. That's fine. It's just like... You're going to make him have to follow this act.
All right. Bailey says, if you'll excuse me, I think that I will get to know your benefactor a bit better. And he marches past you, goes straight for Dan, who is in the middle of hearing. It's like, and that was when I said to Cecilia, and Bailey comes up and is like, no, that's not what happened. So, Mr. Palmer, perhaps you and I could have a conversation about neo-minimalist artwork. Sorry, pre-minimalist art.
Minimalist Neo are.
So I'm pretty sure you can hear like the gears slip and like the transmission fluid start leaking out of the opposite ear. I'm sorry, what?
I was just having a fascinating conversation with your apprentice, Mr. Platt, who indicated that you have some interesting thoughts about the history of art.
Oh, were you now? I look over at Dan.
Yes, such things as all periods of artwork all needing to have a pre, during, and post period to them.
I mean, I suppose
Wanting to take the world of art history into an exciting, what was the term, sexy new direction.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, like
How again did you say that you came across this work of Cecilia's?
oh, you know, I was I'm sorry, I just lost language. I was poking around this like little shire, I think you guys call them here.
I was at the Shire.
I was at the local shire, you know.
I'll name drop Cecilia's actual hometown. I walked into this like little gallery and they had it there, and you know, I just fell in love with this sort of fantastical bit of surrealism, and I bought it, and now unfortunately some things have come up and I need to unload it. So
All right, give me a deception roll.
it's not terribly far off from where I was, but
I honestly, it's a pretty good lie. Okay. Roll for him.
I'm so my favorite joke is re-minimalism. Just like
re-minimalism. Yeah. Wow. Re-minimalism.
All right.
the return, the sequel.
Follow this up, Dan.
Auto pop art.
Dan, follow this up to give me an insight check too, please. 13. Okay. So you say this to him, and his eyes narrow at you when you say this.
Mhm.
And you can tell that he doesn't believe you.
Right.
But what you have said is plausible to him. So he's not calling you on it or anything. Because what you have told him is, I mean, like, from everything that you know, fits into something that could have happened.
Right.
Unfortunately, it doesn't match up extraordinarily well with the bullshit that Dan was spewing earlier.
Right.
But he is, at the very least, not openly hostile towards you while he is here speaking with you.
Oh, I don't know if we had the pleasure, and I put out my hand to shake.
He does not shake it. Yes, Mr. Palmer, I'm Marshall Bailey. I have known Cecilia for some time, and in fact, we were classmates.
I've never had the pleasure of meeting her. Tell me all about her.
You've never met Cecilia?
No, it was honestly, I was in a bit of a bender when I went through that little village. So,
so you went to this town and bought a work of Cecilia's while intoxicated.
Yes.
And did not communicate with her that it had been bought.
I mean, I've purchased plenty of art and never had direct dealings with the artist before.
That's
sort of what happens when you go through a gallery.
As it so happens, Mr. Palmer, the place that you acquired that work of art from is from the town that Cecilia lives in.
Oh, really? Oh, I wish I'd been had my head about me. I would have loved to have met her.
Indeed. So that is what is going on with the two of you. You
got find back.
Tan, you specifically did that to distract Bailey while you guys did other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Is that okay? So what are you guys up to right now?
Gosh, well, what's next on the list? You know, who could Tanadar's piss off further here?
Because they don't have a way to talk to Gideon, I'm going to assume that at some preset time. Well, I mean, they can talk. Gideon can't talk to them.
Fornea, sorry, did you need to be caught up?
Is Reiko not able to just cruise over to Gideon to relay something if necessary?
Yeah, I think you guys can do that.
Well, it's going to depend on how long the.
Yeah, I should point out that you guys are not going to be allowed to go around floating between people forever. You guys are here for an art auction that is going to be starting soon.
Right. You know, it's like Reiko is purely in spirit form right now, so you know, she's not beholden to the rules of the auction. So if there needs to be a message delivered.
I do think that at some point someone needs
to
actually at least somehow engage with the person we're actually here for.
Yeah, right now the only thing that I know that Jerome does need to do is make sure that he can cast the spell again to make sure that Gideon can get out without leaving the door.
So I have a suggestion. Seeing as how the two most vocal guests here are at least in close-ish proximity to Dan, I feel like Dan talking to Stanford is kind of probably the best play, since he was trying to get a hold of Mr. Stanford in the first place. That's part of the cover. So now that the exchange
I'm going to be perfectly honest. I think as far as skill set goes, Tan's got the better skills for getting stuff out of Stanford.
Either all right, if you want to play it that way, that's fine. I was just thinking, just upholding the ruse,
Well,
that perspective. As long as either one of you two charisma bots gets over there and talks to the guy, I don't care.
Yeah, my suggestion in this case would be for Tan to go and try talking to Stanford as sort of as a business intermediary between Mr. Palmer and to try to set up a future possible meeting to do business in business in future as as Palmer's right hand effectively.
Yes.
And sort of play off this as sort of way to make sure that the people that I don't know. I'm just sort of spitballing.
Yeah, Dilip Plass, as the wrong hand of. It's supposed to be Gillip Plass. Is supposed to be the name. My mistake.
Gillip Plass. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. There's
Okay.
Want me to explain the joke for you, or does like
Do it later.
but
Kill it,
but
blast.
Tan will make their way on over to Stanford, and
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You, Jerome, and Reiko all give me perception checks.
All right.
Dan's preoccupied. So
Yeah.
Where is my
Shit.
Perception, you said?
okay, it's a good roll. All right. Tan.
Yes.
15.
As you approach Stanford, you kind of like are also like kind of find yourself just kind of like you kind of like just find yourself kind of like looking around because you have made a little bit of a scene previously by pissing off one of the people who was here for the auction. And as you're glancing around, you do see one or two of the security guys as you start to approach Stanford, just kind of like look a little bit more attentive, straighten up a little bit, just kind of get in that position of like, am I going to have to, move in and stop this idiot from talking to my boss kind of way. And Stanford who is basically just kind of like just been like staring into space essentially during this, does as you approach turn to look at you, almost looking surprised that you have done so. Yes, here for the auction, are you?
Yes, in conjunction with Mr. Bailey over there.
He nods.
No, I'm sorry. I keep on forgetting Dan.
Yeah,
Palmer.
maybe it was this guy you just pissed off, Palmer.
No,
Mr.
Mr. Palmer. Yeah, Mr. Palmer. Yeah.
He nods at you. Bit of a new movements types, are you?
I suppose that my sort of views on analysis and history are a bit esoteric, to be fully honest, but things are always in a bit of flux when it comes to the art world. Trends arrive and leave, much like those that create these works. The only things that stay the same are the paintings themselves, the objective content of the canvas. A curious thing, isn't it?
In the sense that people change, but those things they leave behind do not. And so the meaning behind them changes as well.
Quite so, quite so.
Give me an insight check.
Oh no.
16.
All right. You're having this conversation with Stanford. And as you talk about this stuff, you can actually kind of tell that you're a little bit outside his wheelhouse in terms of what you're talking about. Like once the conversation enters the realm of like, more general philosophy, he does get a grasp of it. But at the same time, it doesn't seem like his heart is in the points that he's making. He's really just kind of like giving you blank but passable conversation. Essentially, like what you were trying to do a bad version of, he's doing a good version of it.
Yeah. Tan will nod briefly and then say, as for, the content of the canvas, do you mind if I ask what draws you specifically to the works of Miss Teague here?
It's always been something strangely fascinating about the way that she draws the otherworldly in such a grounded and physical manner. It's, most of the time when people draw the fantastical, it's it has a fantastical air about it, and yet the way that she draws it, it seems grounded, real, like you could reach out and touch it. The amount of detail shown is quite amazing.
Indeed.
If you can give me another insight check as well.
I'm going to take that as I'm going to do my reroll for this on this one here.
Okay.
That is a 16 again.
16 again. Okay. Let's see. Actually, I'm gonna roll one more thing over here.
It's
not a bad thing.
I'm hoping this is a valid approach for dealing with Stanford here to try to
all right
who they are, at least.
All right, now unfortunately I didn't roll well enough for you to get that, so I'm gonna roll one more thing. Okay. So then, from overhearing the conversation over there, it seems as though your benefactor, was that the word that
that's
Bailey used?
I think that's a satisfactory term for the conversation.
It sounded as though it was a little bit of an impulse buy that happened.
Yes, it was. I suppose it was intrigue at first sight. It's a way to think of it, and I think that after spending some time with the work, Mr. Palmer decided to expand their the repertoire they have.
To me, it seems as though there might have been a little bit of an impulse on both ends of things. Do not take offense. We all have to move quickly when the time is right, but when Yates contacted me, it sounded as though this was going to be quite an urgent matter.
Well, I'm trying to think.
Reiko can whisper in your ear if you like.
You go ahead. You can do that. That's not a.
The cover was that there were what's the termage? Timing issues that were encouraging the urgency of the contact.
I'm trying to just sort of like figure out the right way to say things right now.
Oh, sure.
Impulse is a bit of a thing, isn't it? I suppose the temporalness of things can sometimes drive actions that is swifter than a more contemplative mind might find, but it is the pace that Mr. Palmer tends to move at.
Stanford nods for a moment, and then he gets a very kind of thoughtful, but not strained. It's an out of hand thoughtful kind of look to his face. And he says, "What did you say your name was again, lad?"
Dilla Plass, sir.
Mr. Plass, let me give you a bit of advice. In this world, there are those who plan for the now. There are those who plan for tomorrow. And there are those who plan for 10 years in the future. It is necessary, of course, to be able to do all three. We have to be able to react to changing matters at the present. But if as far as one can see is mere hours, mere days into the future, then that which we leave behind amounts to very little. It will slip through our fingers, and there will be nothing left to our names.
Except that
You
which
want to
others...
be,
Sorry.
You want to be attached to someone who can plan for the future, my boy. I would advise that you keep that in mind, as if you plan on continuing your relationship with Mr. Palmer.
I'm glad to see I've made such a good impression on him.
All the warning signs are going off. All of them.
Like out of game, I'm feeling like, oh fuck, this guy is making me a little uncomfortable.
I both out of game and game, am not picking up on anything. So
this isn't really a game thing, more just like the kind of shit he's saying sounds scary to me. I don't plan.
I have a slightly jokey response, but
It's up to you.
But Batan will just sort of nod. It's like, well, if my employment availability changes, I might reach out to others, much like yourself, to see if I could be brought on board with someone with a longer scope vision of things for the context of their actions.
Don't take the bit of free advice as an offer, my boy. But I do admire your forwardness. That is something that you should hold on to. And at that moment, Herbert Yates taps a little microphone that is on a podium at the front of the room, and he says, if everyone will please find the preferred seating, we will begin the auction shortly. Thank you. And there is a shuffling of movement through the room as people start to head towards the seats that are laid out in the area. And that is where we are going to close the session for today.
All right,
cool. Excellent. I was thinking this is beginning to feel like a break point, and I was right.
Yeah.
I was like this close to just saying like, okay, going to go tell Gideon the state of affairs over there.
Yeah, like it's like we need to get
Status
like
update.
make sure Gideon gets out clean, and then Jerome can be a little more active in what's going on.
Eric.
Yeah.
I'm going to say two things. One, you're welcome, and two, I'm sorry.
That's about right. Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Did you have a favorite bit in that whole matter
All right,
there?
before we-
That like
Go ahead.
the pre-minimalism was just like, okay, that's hilarious.
Right. Anyway, but Peter,
I was just gonna say we're gonna wrap it. I was gonna wrap up the recording here.
Yeah.
So, thank you everybody for watching. If you're listening to us on YouTube, I hope you all enjoyed. We'll be back in the near future with another episode. If you're watching us on Twitch, we'll probably be hanging check-in for a little bit at least, but we'll see. Anyways, that's it for now, guys. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. We'll be back in the future. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, buddy.
Bye.